Well, I had such a good time yesterday playing on a panel that that excitement kind of shuffled over to today. And I thought, no matter how miserable the panel was yesterday once I was done, it was a steady, and that's fine. But while the paint was still wet, I thought, I think, the way the paint had tacked up a little bit so it's easy enough to work on, I thought I'd go back into these hills. Now, really, this is a mountain called Mount Woodside, just to the north of me. And it's part of a larger ridge. And, if you were to double the width of this panel, I could paint the entire length of it. It's the outline against the sky that I find the most interesting part of Mount Woodside, from my vantage point. So I just took a portion of it and then laid in some various foliage in the foreground, which is not the same as, but it's also not completely dissimilar to, a line of trees, and there are farms and what have you amongst that stuff. But I just decided to stick to these forms here. I just could not see where I positioned myself yesterday. It was just a really bad spot. I was blinded by the very golden field behind it, direct sunlight, and I was in the shade, and the panel was in the shade. I should have actually moved slightly my angle so that it would pick up some reflection from the white back side and brightly illuminated walls of the back of my house, and that would have given some light onto the panel itself. Anyway, the long and the short of it was a failure, and I was fine with that because it was fun anyway. And I kind of thought I was just going to throw it in the bin, throw it in the garbage. But when I look at it today, I think, maybe I can make something out of this. I kind of like the shapes in general. There are things about it that need drastic change. I've started on that. I haven't played in the sky yet. I don't know if I'll do any playing. If I do, it won't be much. But this mountain range has changed completely. Now it looks more representative of an area that is to the north of us, in the Merritt region or up in the Caribou, in British Columbia, where it's more arid, more to the interior of the province. And it's much more arid, and you get some of these golden hills. And I thought, yeah, I quite like that. I had some very strong colors up here before, a little bit of burnt sienna and what have you. It was way up there. I thought I would shift everything down. These would be my most important, this would be interesting, but these would be my most important strokes. My focal point, as a result, is sort of going to be almost center, probably tucked up against these taller spires. I've made them a little higher than they were yesterday. And I've cut down some of these bushes. So I'm just continuing to play with it. And it's again one of those situations where I'm sitting down, standing up, and putting a few brush strokes on here and there and now and then. I'm still on painting holidays, so I'm not feeling guilty about just poking away on this. But I think there's some hope to it. Yes, of course, you can take any painting and work it so much that eventually it turns into a nice painting. But do you have to, in fact, repaint the entire thing? Or is there enough there in form that you can just modify a few things here and there, and you can end up with a good painting? If I had to repaint the painting completely, then I would discard it and just take a fresh panel and start again with a fresh painting. I was tempted to step outside this morning and have a look at the scene, revisit it, and see what sort of modifications I might do that would keep it more true to the nature of the mountain itself. The only thing that's remained is really a line up here, 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 and here. This little bit that's in the background. But it suited the composition well to not drop it off here too quickly, which is why I threw in that little bit of background mountain. It does exist, I just didn't have it in my first iteration of it. Not strongly enough anyway. But when I got up this morning, actually, there was wildfire smoke covering part of the top of it, and as the day's gone on, it's kind of in the Fraser Valley now. Not thick and horrible, but enough that it sort of obliterated the top, and I couldn't see clearly, individual details on the mountains at all. So I've just made them up. So it's departed even more from the reality than my painting or than the panel did yesterday. That forest fire actually started last night, apparently. They're guessing it's human caused. And it started right well, quite close, within a couple of kilometers from where my daughter and I were paddling the other day. So I wouldn't want to be out paddling in the smoke today either. That's kind of interesting to look at, but I do too much coughing. So we'll leave that alone. Anyway, win or lose, I'll show this to you when I'm done with it. I've got hope for it now. Yes, I could turn this into a lake, obviously. It already has a bit of that slant to it. I don't know that I want to do that. I'm thinking more likely I want to stick with the field idea, you know. And although this is very blue, repeating these colors, sort of, at the moment, yeah, it's not doing the job. Okay, this tree line is good. I think from, you know, it's not finished, but the forms are good. From the bottom of the tree line to the bottom of the painting, I'm just an unhappy camper, but that's okay. We will change that. Have a good day, guys. Talk to you soon.